What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 1 of this show, which actually has no name yet.
That's okay.
That's okay. We'll figure out a name soon. But welcome to episode 1 of this thing. So we are recording from Mouth Media Network Studios in New York City, which is powered by Sennheiser. Now, Mouth Media Network is the leading podcast network covering all things business and lifestyle. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about on this show, your lifestyle. My name is Philip Kisumu. I'm a health enthusiast, bit of an expert, and I'm going to talk to you about everything I know. And I'm going to be the host of the show. I'm also joined by the lovely Michelle.
Hello.
Hi, Michelle.
How are you?
You want to tell everyone who you are?
So, hi. I'm Michelle. Michelle Grader. I'm a registered dietitian based out of New York City. So I help people every day try and eat healthier and live better lives to improve their health and lifestyle.
Nice. That was nice and concise. Very modest.
Yeah.
So, like I said, this is episode 1 of this show, and we don't really know what's going to happen, but we're going to just, talk about all things health and see where the conversation goes. So we really want to bring a lot of value to you guys and just kind of figure out what's the best way to live, to eat better, to train, to sleep, like everything to do about health and wellness. We want to try and cover that in this show. We just really want to see where this goes.
I think we're going to kind of open people's eyes to some of the most popular fad diets these days, educate some people, and really empower everyone to know how to make the right choices with their life.
Want to get into it?
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So, what's on topic for today?
So today we are going to be talking about some of the most popular fad diets that have been really buzzing around the past, I would say, year or two.
Okay.
So just to give everyone a heads up, the 3 main ones we'll be talking about today are the ketogenic diet.
Ooh.
Yeah. High fat, low carb, we'll get into it. Whole30, which, as God. Phil was just telling me,
I hate that diet.
Voted one of the worst diets.
Literally, number 38 out of 38 diets. I mean, it doesn't get lower than that.
Yes. And the ever so trendy gluten-free diet for people that are not celiac. Just putting that out there. We are not talking about people
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that because I don't feel like a lot of people actually know, the reason why someone would go gluten-free.
Yeah.
But
so we'll give everyone a little background when we talk about it, so we're not just bashing on these diets. We're giving actual information from my professional standpoint, Phil's standpoint, and truly get you guys to understand what the diet is and some of the problems associated with it.
Yeah.
Or them. But just a little heads up, the things that all 3 of these diets have in common are that they are fad diets. They're not necessarily lifestyle changes, which we like to promote. Yeah.
I think when it comes to any kind of diet, quote unquote diet, there's always a beginning and an end. And that's my biggest issue with diets. So basically this show is just going to be about me complaining about everything that happens in society. When it comes to healthy eating, I'm just going to be complaining. I'm just going to be complaining about everything I see.
So welcome to the complaining show. Maybe that's what we'll call it. Yeah,
let's just call it the complaining show. Philip's bedbugs.
Phil's whining hour.
Yeah. Okay, so the ketogenic diet.
All right.
The keto diet.
Keto diet.
So what is the keto diet? Break it down for me.
So the keto diet is based off of eating very low carb, meaning usually less than 50 to 25 grams per day, depending how active you are, your life, blah, blah, blah. So very low carb, very high in fat, and just moderate amounts of protein. So the reasoning behind that madness is just that basically you're getting your body to shift its main energy source from carbohydrates to burning fat.
Which means that's ketosis. You want to get
ketosis, yes. So basically your body is running on what we call ketones as opposed to glucose, which are easily readily available source of energy.
Okay.
So that's what basically the premises of it is. So do you want to get started with why you don't enjoy it, or do you want me to?
I want to know, like, so why would someone decide that, hey, keto is the best solution for me?
Yeah. So keto can be easily adopted to a lot of people's lifestyles, which I think is why a lot of people, especially men, kind of enjoy it, because the whole premise behind it is this beautiful, like, slap butter on everything, just have a ton of bacon, steak, like all the high fat things. Like, people just love the thought of that, because for so long it was just like low fat this, low fat that, use margarine, no butter. And so now people are like, I could slap butter on bacon and like wrap it in a steak, and that's good for me. Like, that'll help me lose weight. So people love that.
Yeah. It might be good for you, but it might actually give you a heart attack eventually too.
Yeah, exactly. And also people, I think, love the idea of, like, for so long also people always promoted you should have breakfast and it's the healthiest meal of the day, whereas a lot of people in keto land are doing, like, intermittent fasting, or they're having bulletproof coffee in the morning, which is basically just butter, coconut oil, fats mixed in with coffee. It tastes really good, but has zero nutrients in terms of vitamins, minerals, things like that in it. So
the keto diet actually has been around for like nearly 100 years.
Yeah.
It's a really old diet, and it went away for a while. It didn't get that much publicity because of, the war on fat for so long by the media.
The
Everyone's
90s.
like, fat is going to kill you, which is obviously not the case.
Right.
So, but now it's come back, it's re-emerged,
Yes.
And there's a huge following on it on like Reddit, and guys just love this diet.
Yeah, like Dave Asprey's Bulletproof, like...
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, what's some of the issues with keto?
Yeah, so there's quite a few issues with it. I do have to say, in theory, it works for a lot of people for a short amount of time. But the issue is that people are cutting out a lot of really essential nutrients with it. So,
like
yes,
the carbohydrates.
Like carbohydrates, which usually equates to fiber.
Yeah.
So the ketogenic diet is very low in fiber. A lot of people suffer then from constipation, I'll say it. And they suffer from, like, constipation, maybe some bloating issues, but you're shedding away a lot of your healthy gut lining that you need, the fibers and things like that. So they're also cutting out a lot of fruits, which eliminates then a lot of vitamins and minerals, and even some of the high carb vegetables. Kale has more carbs in it than spinach, so a lot of enthusiasts will be like, oh, I can't have kale, it's too many carbs.
Oh my goodness.
And it's just like, who says you can't have kale?
Who says you can't have kale?
Right. So the diet itself, from a dietitian standpoint, is just that it's so low in a lot of essential vitamins and minerals that we get from some carbs, but also a lot of just plants that are naturally higher in carbohydrates.
Yeah. And my issue with the keto diet is that, like you said, it negates carbohydrates. And like, when you're thinking about the macronutrients, macro, what does macro mean? It means the three pillars. Right. Carbohydrates, proteins, fats. Yes. If you eliminate any of these, you're incomplete.
Right. Something's going to fall.
Something's going to fall. You cannot substitute fats for carbohydrates. You can't substitute protein for fats. Like, if I said, oh, just cut all your protein out and have a fat and carbohydrate diet, you'll be fine. You'll be like, that's ridiculous. No. So why do you think it's acceptable to do the same for carbohydrates? It's crazy.
People just love cutting things out.
People love to cut stuff out, and they want to see fast results, and they'll see the fast results, and then then it's back to square one, unless you're going to live that all your life. Yes. And I don't advise anyone to do that.
And that's another point, is that with the ketogenic diet, if you do follow it completely, that it is so low carb, it does also take a turn for long-term consequences, like I said, with gut health. People that have done long-term ketogenic diets suffer from more food allergies when they start adding some food back to them, because, like I said, they've gone so long without specific nutrients. It also can affect your thyroid and other hormones. So although women tend to have more thyroid issues, men can also get hypothyroid, which means that you're more susceptible to gaining weight easier. You can have more autoimmune issues, things like that. So there's
talk a bit more about the thyroid. So, like, explain to someone who doesn't know why would they care about that?
Yeah. So our thyroid secretes hormones that helps, regulate our entire bodies.
Yeah.
It does affect the way we metabolize nutrients along with our weight. So if you're hypothyroid, your thyroid is slower. So those type of people tend to gain weight easier. They feel more sluggish and tired, things like that. If you have hyperthyroid, those are the kinds of people that can eat so much food, but for the life of them can't gain weight. Both have I don't want to say a lot of negative consequences, but both aren't the best. You need medications like Synthroid to replace the hormones that your thyroid can't make. So it's like you go on this diet, you could, be trying to live your healthy life, but in the end you might end up doing more damage, having to take synthetic hormones and things like that. So
and you don't even want to get into that game.
Yeah,
start taking anything synthetic.
And it's not a given. Like, it's not always like, oh, if you do keto for long term, these are going to happen. But it's an issue people have seen. And
you must have seen a lot of patients coming in to your practice with that issue.
Yeah, I do. A lot of people, have sluggish thyroids or also just come off of the ketogenic diet and they're like, I now can't stop gaining weight. And it's like, oh my God. But also, the thing is, you do keto and it has to be like 100%. You can't do keto one day and not the other, because then you're just really screwing yourself
Sending
up.
your body into like chaos.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I do? How do I process this?
Exactly.
Because it takes a long time. So I would assume there is some benefit in trying to substitute fat as an energy source.
Yeah, definitely.
So is there another way one can achieve that while still eating carbohydrates?
Yeah. Well, intermittent fasting is a good way to do it. A lot of men...
I don't know about that. I'm not a fan of that.
You're not a fan of it? So, but intermittent fasting doesn't even have to be like going 24 hours. Even if you just give yourself 12 hours, so you eat dinner at 8, you have breakfast at 8.
Yeah.
It sounds so simple, but there's so many people that are late night eaters, and then they wake up, they get their bagel and things like that. But also in terms of, following a more low carb, high fat diet, there's so many easy ways to do it where you basically just eat, once again, in moderation.
Yeah.
So maybe you just have half a cup of carbs, but a little bit more fat at your meal, which could come from healthier sources like avocado, nuts, olive oils, things like that, instead of just a ton of butter with a high fat protein and a low carb vegetable.
Yeah. Maybe we can like list those stuff as she's saying that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's keto.
Yeah.
So guys, it's for the crap. Don't do it. Eat balanced.
Carbs are not going to kill you is the main takeaway.
So the next diet we're going to discuss now, Whole30. I absolutely hate the Whole30. So when I was at Greatest, the health and wellness media company, like Whole30 was like the thing. Everyone was doing it.
It still is, yeah.
It was crazy. Like our readers were going crazy for Whole30. Any kind of Whole30 recipe we'd put up would like be a hit straight away.
Yeah.
Now, I hate the Whole30. And the reason why this is going to be a show what Philip hates, it's 30 days long. Yeah. And you're supposed to like reset your body in 30 days.
So the biggest question is, what happens after 30 days?
What happens? What happens on day 31?
From my experience, I personally have not done the Whole30 because I don't want to be that restrictive with myself. Like, I enjoy going out on a Friday night, getting a glass of wine and like having a nice dinner, and the thought of like being so restrictive on a like weeknight when you just want to relax is daunting to me. So I don't want to put myself through the torture of the Whole30. But from my experience, what I've seen with my patients is that, one, I don't think any of them have ever actually followed it 100% for 30 days. Mm-hmm. But the people that have tried it on day 31 binge on like cake and cookies, ice cream. Like, they're like, I just did it, I should treat myself. And I'm just like, that is defeating the purpose of it.
Yeah. I mean, Whole30, like, if you think about any diet, again, going back to the diets, it's for a short period of time.
It is, yeah.
It's not going to like change your life.
It's not a sustainable life change. If you want to detox your body, drink water.
Yeah, eat some vegetables.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so, like, I'm just looking at like how the aim of the Whole30, and it's to
let's get into it.
So the Whole30 is to reset your body, identify food groups that disagree with it, and treat it with medical conditions. So weight loss is almost always never an outcome.
Right.
It's like an added bonus if you manage to lose weight during the Whole30.
Which most people do because they're like, I don't know what to eat.
Yeah. So you go through this 30-day period of literally starving yourself. You like cut everything out. You cut out grains,
legumes.
Legumes, yeah, everything. And then it's like, okay, you've cut everything out, and then you eat something on day 31. It's like, oh, if this affects your body now, then chances are you shouldn't eat this anymore.
Yeah.
Who came up with this?
Really mean people came up with it. People who want to torture other people.
I mean, it's done so well. Like the way they've branded it, and it's like huge, it's exploded.
People
They've got like
love
Whole30
it.
books, Whole30 recipes, Whole30.
There's Whole30 like approvals on like bars that I've
it's like
seen.
stamp of approval. You can eat this for Whole30, which is obviously some
Insane.
kind of
like that defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it's like
if you're having a bar like something that's wrapped up or like a cereal that says Whole30 approved, that defeats the purpose.
So why would someone decide to do this diet?
Because people keep being like, oh, I need to detox my body, or they do think that it is going to cause weight loss, things like that. They want to challenge themselves. But once again, it's not a sustainable lifestyle.
Sustainability is key.
Yeah, so something I kind of want to get into are some of the foods that they do eliminate that I so highly disagree with. And that is legumes and dairy as well. So when it comes to them saying let's eliminate legumes, their reasoning behind it is because that these types of foods like beans, some nuts, like chickpeas, things like that, have these chemicals called phytates in them. So what they say, what they say is that these phytates actually block the absorption of certain nutrients, which can be harmful to our body. But not like harmful in the way sugar is harmful to our body, or in the way like other chemicals are harmful to our body. So I hate that they push that. But also, if we're looking into it, like everyone's body does absorb things differently. You can't just say, hey, if you eat this, you're not going to absorb what you're eating. But also, little do they know, kale has just as many phytates, if not more, than beans and legumes. Like, you can't just say, cut this out because this could happen. And if you prepare...
It could happen.
Yeah, if you sprout... Like, have you ever heard of sprouting your beans or sprouted, like, almonds?
I mean, I have,
like that?
like, when I have my Ezekiel bread, I always buy the...
Yeah, it's sprouted grains.
Yeah.
So when you sprout your grains... That's funny. When you sprout your grains, what it does is it actually does reduce the amounts of phytates so that you can absorb it better. So what the Whole30 should do is like, here's how to make your food healthy. Like, here's how to make your healthy food healthier.
Right.
You know, it doesn't have to be like, reduce these because this could happen.
Yeah.
Which frustrates me. And then another point is like, they're also eliminating... So they're eliminating a ton of carbs. Mm-hmm. Once again,
it's all
similar.
Carbs. Don't they take out all carbs, like rye, wheat, whole grain, everything.
And you're also eliminating dairy, which I know a lot of people eliminate dairy, and I totally understand because of a lot of the hormones that are in it, and like just the way they process it now is terrible. But fermented dairy products like certain raw cheeses and milks, and especially yogurts with a lot of the pre and probiotics in them, those have science is showing now that those are so beneficial to keeping your weight stable, as well as improving your gut flora, which microbiome is now also like...
You're just throwing out all these terms right
Sorry,
now.
is it too much?
No, it's good. Keep going.
No, but like it really helps with your gut health, which is linked with obesity, whether it's increasing or decreasing.
I feel like we should do a dairy segment. You know?
Yeah, we could totally do a dairy segment. And it's also, you know, gut health is also linked to like reducing allergies and inflammation and things like that. So it's like they're eliminating all of these foods that have benefits to us, and it's just like...
But one thing I would say is that I don't feel like many guys do Whole30. The only guys I've met that have done Whole30 were like, oh, I'm doing it with my girlfriend.
Right.
Like, I'm doing it. My wife is making me.
Girly thing.
It's very, very feminine, and maybe that was intentional. But like, just the brand itself is very, very feminine. So Whole30. So like, instead of doing the Whole30, would you recommend like the Whole30 if it was like longer, or just not at all, just the diet?
I just wouldn't recommend it at all. I would say if your goal is to lose weight from it, then figure out a different diet where it keeps all of these harmful foods in moderation. Harmful meaning like sugar and other addictive foods that you may have. If you feel like you have food allergies, work with a professional to figure out what your food allergies are instead of being like, I'm going to go on the Whole30 and see for myself. I work a lot with people, like, go to a dietitian, go to me.
Come and see Michelle.
And work with a true professional on that. But yeah, you don't have to be that restrictive. It's just so not necessary.
I don't think, it's not necessary. And I think, with every diet, I always try and see like the pros of it, and it's great that someone's gonna take into consideration for like 30 days straight everything they eat. There's something good in that. Don't get me wrong.
I would say
if you're thinking about what you're gonna be eating for the next 30 days, then you're gonna be really intentional about the recipes, and you're gonna cook your food, and you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. That's great. But I just don't think restricting yourself ever for especially for 30 days, it's like you're just starving yourself. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, I don't know. I don't know anyone who's been like, the Whole30 has changed my life. It doesn't revolutionize
I've never
anything.
heard anyone say that.
So there you go. Don't do Whole30. And then the final pet peeve, gluten-free. So we've seen a lot of gluten-free everything over the last, 3-5 years. It's like emerged out of nowhere, like gluten-free this, gluten-free that. But what most people don't know is that you only need to be gluten-free if you have celiac disease.
Yes.
Is that correct?
If you have celiac disease, or there are people that are intolerant to gluten, but you have to go through testing. Like, you can't just be like, oh, I felt bloated after that, so I must be like...
And like, the thing about gluten, the thing that makes me laugh so much about like gluten-free diets or these gluten-free like enthusiasts is that every gluten-free product is just pumped with so much sugar.
Wait, did you read my mind? Because I actually took pictures of the ingredients in gluten-free pretzels versus non-gluten-free pretzels.
And like, the sugar must be insane.
But not even just that, the ingredients. Like, in the gluten-free pretzels, there's cornstarch, potato starch, tapioca starch, palm oil, cellulose gum, like all of this crap that I can't even pronounce it. And the ingredients in the gluten pretzels is just enriched flour, water, salt, and dextrose, and a little bit of canola
there's
oil.
something wrong when a dietitian cannot pronounce an ingredient.
Yeah.
If the dietitian can't pronounce it, chances are you shouldn't eat it.
Right. So like, your gluten-free pretzels have more crappy ingredients than your regular pretzels.
But because it's gluten-free,
it's healthy.
It's healthy. No. So, again, why would someone want to be gluten-free?
Okay. So actually, let's back up a second and just go over what gluten is.
Yeah, let's do that actually.
Because some people don't even know. So gluten is actually the protein in wheat that kind of is the glue that gives it a structure and holds it all together.
Yeah.
Which might be why if you're making gluten-free pasta, you find it kind of falls apart easier. It doesn't have the same texture. It's because that gluten isn't there to like really paste it all together. So some people are celiac and have allergic reactions to gluten. However, that is 0.7 to 1% of our population.
Wow.
So very, very few people have gluten allergies. And it's not always like stomach issues that they get. Like, they could get anemia from it. They could feel really tired.
Yeah, you can get like diarrhea, nausea.
Yeah, so it's like the symptoms are totally different from, oh, I just feel bloated after I have a piece of bread.
Yeah.
So
I think everyone feels bloated after bread.
yeah, because it's junk. So everyone kind of got on board with like going gluten-free and things like that. But if you're not allergic to it or intolerant to it, you don't need to go gluten-free.
Yeah.
Like we were saying, the ingredients in gluten-free foods are crappier.
They're not even food.
Yeah.
It's not even food.
Yeah.
And I just think like gluten-free, as with most things when it comes to diets, it's the media who perpetuate this narrative that you need to be gluten-free and gluten-free is better for you and you're going to feel lighter and this and that and your stomach's going to come down. It's like, no.
And so it's also not a weight loss diet, but people lose weight from it. So I had this guy come in actually just 2 weeks ago and he was like telling me how he started gluten-free and he's lost like 5 pounds. And I was like, why'd you go gluten-free? And he was like, oh, I just felt like I should. And I was like, okay. So then I was like, okay, so what were you eating? What did you cut out to like go gluten-free? He was like, I stopped having bagels for breakfast. And it's like, no crap.
Yeah.
If you cut out bagels for breakfast, you'll lose 5 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's not even like a weight loss diet. It's just people suddenly think like, oh, I should cut out the breads or the bagels or pastas and stuff like that, which is what I tell everyone. You don't need to go gluten-free to make healthier carb choices.
Yeah. What have you seen, like in your experience as being a dietitian, the reason why people decide to like cut something out? Like where does that come from? Like where do we all get that, that feeling that we need to cut this thing out, or this one thing is what's stopping me from having the body I want?
Because, okay, so there's a few things. I think one is that people like to put the blame on everything else but themselves. If you're gaining weight and you don't have any other kind of medical conditions, it's because you're overeating. It's because you're making poor food choices.
Right.
So nobody wants to admit that. Instead, they want to say, oh, this slice of bread has gluten in it and that's what's making me fat.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to blame the products instead of maybe I shouldn't have bread and instead I should have a sweet potato or like some fruit. So I think that's where a lot of it comes from, is like people are like, oh, this carb is making me fat, so I have to cut that out. When in reality, if they reduce their rice from 2 cups to 1, they'll lose weight without having to completely cut it. And also it's just easier for people to say like, oh, I just need to cut this out and I'll lose weight.
Yeah. So for people who don't have celiac disease and they go gluten-free, what actually happens internally? What's actually going on in their body?
I don't know. Like really nothing. It's broad to say because it's like you could, what are they still eating? Like are they going gluten-free and only eating gluten-free bread and pretzels and stuff like that? Or are they going gluten-free and having, starchy vegetables and stuff like that in place? So it's so hard to tell. People just don't even know how to go about it.
So I feel like, we've just been talking about a lot of doom and gloom for the last, 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
This show is not going to be about like just,
it's supposed
doom
to,
and gloom and like
we
everyone's stupid
said,
for these diets.
It's supposed to really inform you.
Yeah.
So
what can people do? So we've broken down these 3 diets right now, right?
Right.
Keto diet, Whole 30, gluten-free. We've decided that most people don't need to go in any of these.
Right.
And they're garbage.
Right.
So what's the alternative here? Like, what do we say to that dude?
What, like we said in the beginning, the theme here is fad diets.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily bonking down these diets. We're bonking down the fact that they're not sustainable life changes.
Right.
So the best thing to always do is figure out, what can I do to make healthy choices in my life that I can make for the rest of my life? So like I always tell my patients, you don't have to stop eating cookies, but maybe just stop eating 5 cookies a day. Instead, make it 1 cookie a day or 1 cookie a week that you always look forward to. You don't always have to just cut things out. You just have to keep it all within a reasonable amount so that you're not always overdoing things. You don't always want to overdo gluten or overdo your fats or things like that. And you just have to be truthful with yourself. If you're having a lot of sugar in your diet, you don't have to detox and go on the Whole30 challenge. You just need to reduce some of what you're having.
No, exactly.
Maybe have 1 less candy bar a day. Like, it doesn't have to be this crazy diet change to lose weight or be healthier.
Yeah. And like, I think even the clients that I've like trained in the past and the people I kind of advise on nutrition and whatnot, I always tell them everything in moderation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people don't know what moderation is.
Yes.
That's like the biggest issue. You can tell someone like everything in moderation. You give them all the knowledge, and they'll be like, okay,
right.
Everything in moderation. 3 beers instead of 5.
So I give my patients guidelines for that. Like, to me, everyone follows moderation differently.
Yeah.
I keep my moderation to, like I was saying, my Friday nights where it's like, I just finished a full work week. I'm going to go out to dinner. I'm going to have maybe a glass or two of wine and just like relax. For some people, their moderation is they need that small piece of chocolate every day after dinner. Some people, it's every other day. So moderation is different for everyone, but I think you need to figure out what works for yourself, whether it's that one small thing to look forward to a day or a week or a month. But you just need to figure out a way to just not completely indulge and like overdo what you're currently doing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
So moderation is hard. It's hard
it's
hard to explain, but that's why I try to give people different examples of moderation. And another thing is that in America, we've maybe in other places too, but we tend to treat ourselves with food. So that's
we do that in England too.
Yeah, so that's another way that moderation gets tricky is people are like, well, I did really good at work today. I want to treat myself to a candy bar and this and that. When it's like you need to figure out other ways to treat yourself and make yourself happy as well. And that also really helps with keeping things within moderation, because instead of going to food, maybe you can buy yourself a shirt for doing a good job at work this week, or you can, I don't know, like do something else that makes you feel good. Yeah. Like let yourself relax for 30 minutes at the end of the day and like watch your favorite comedy show or something.
Yeah, because I guess that's where that whole like cheat day and cheat meal.
Yeah, it's like you don't need to have a whole cheat day or cheat meal. You just need to make yourself happy and feel good in other ways than food.
Oh, so you don't tell people to have cheat days?
No.
That's definitely something
not a whole day.
that came from like the bodybuilding community that crept into mainstream.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I remember when I was competing and we used to have cheat days, and it was just like a day to abuse your body.
What would you eat on a cheat day?
Oh man, you go have burgers and donuts and milkshakes and just everything that you should not be having all at once.
I have a stomach ache just thinking.
It was horrible. But yeah, so I think, so all 3 of these diets, I feel like we've done a fairly decent job explaining what they are.
Yeah.
What they consist of.
Yeah.
And why one person would do it and why you shouldn't actually do it.
Right. So, if everyone here wants, try these diets out for a week and let us know if you really feel like you could keep up with it for the rest of your life. If you see yourself at your 50th birthday saying no to cake because it's too high in carbs or doesn't follow the Whole30 plan.
I don't know if our audience are going to be 50. But so the keto diet, going back to the keto diet, have you seen like the tribe they have on the internet?
It's huge.
I'm scared of them. They're almost like vegans.
Yeah.
They're like, you say the wrong thing, they'll come after you.
They'll cut your throat.
Like the keto tribe.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want any of them coming after me, but like, there are people that can do it well, but you can't do it for too long of a time.
Yeah.
Even Dave Asprey, who's like he is like the leader of
this tribe.
Keto. He's like, I made you guys bulletproof coffee. Like, they love him. And even he has like said that he's gotten some gut issues from following keto for too long. But he's also a genius and works with a ton of health professionals to help reverse the negative effects. Yeah. Whereas the everyday Joe who's following the keto diet might not think to like reach out to a health professional to help them with it. So, you kind of have to really make a healthy way of it. So I'm not saying it's like the worst diet ever, but you have to figure out how to make it so that it's not going to ruin your life later on or cause any other medical conditions later on. Yeah,
and I feel like we could probably do like a whole segment on like gut health and...
Oh, We could do 5 whole segments on gut health.
But it's something that doesn't really get spoken about a lot, especially like in like the male community. Like it's like, oh yeah, I'm just trying to eat better for my gut. Like no one says that ever. Like
it's actually becoming a lot more popular, but just like not a lot of. I think actually surprisingly enough, more women are talking about like gut health and their digestive tracts than men.
Of course.
But it is starting to come out where men are like, I'm starting to get more male patients that admit that they feel bloated, or you know that they're having some issues where they're a little backed up and things like that, because before it was just like guys would be like, oh, I fart, you know, it's like funny, but they don't talk about their regularities and stuff like that. So it's something we could get into. We could get our hands messy with that one.
Yeah, so you have people coming to you complaining that they fart too much.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So is that a thing?
Yes.
But men just fart. That's what dudes do.
No, but you're not supposed to like too much, or if they're like too smelly and things like that, because it shows
too
that
much. Oh my goodness, I'm sick.
Yeah, we're getting a little off topic here.
We are getting off topic. We'll say that for another time.
But gut health is a big thing.
Cool. Well, Michelle, I think you've done a really good job today.
Yeah, thanks,
I think you laid things out really clearly and really simply. We didn't want to get too technical and too sciencey, because people switch off.
I might have, but
a little bit, but
I want to like let people know that if they have questions, or if they
disagree, Look at the camera.
If they disagree with what we're saying, let us know. Like, we want to have a good discussion, and
yeah, we want to know. We want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us if you think this was useful. If you think we're talking crap. There's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be like, yo, that girl doesn't know what she's talking about.
That's okay. I have credentials that back it up, so
yeah, we know. We kind of know what we're talking about a little bit, but I think we've done a good job. What do you think? What do you think, K-Dot?
Good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It's good.
Yeah.
Good for episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Got some feedback for us. So yeah, guys, that's episode 1. No, we'll tell them about that next time. But yeah, that's episode 1. I hope you found that useful. So yeah, my name's Philip Kasumu, the host. This is Michelle Grader.
Hi.
You can follow us on Instagram. I'm Philip Kasumu.
I don't have a good Instagram.
They don't need to know. You don't need to have a good Instagram, but just let them know where they can find you. Yeah. So yeah, if you have any questions, or if there's a topic you want us to like talk about or debunk, we'll be more than happy to do that on the next episode. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and stay away from those diets.